Hey everyone, time for another episode going through the Quill discography as sort of a countdown to our 30th anniversary coming up already on, it's just a few days away, on Thursday. It's going to be great fun. Today we're going to talk about this one, our 2013 album Tiger Blood, the comeback album on my part. I'll tell you some stories about this one, a couple of different pressings, there aren't that many, and my general thoughts about the album. But before we start, you know what to do. Make sure you subscribe, hit that little notice bell, and share with your friends. Well, I came back into the band at the sort of tail end of the Full Circle touring campaign, and we went straight ahead and started working on this one. But it was a different way of working. What we generally do is that we sort of meet in the rehearsal room, all four of us, and usually starts out with Christian or Jola having an idea, a riff or a sort of a verse melody or something, and then we sort of all four work on it and add parts and suggest ideas, and it's usually a band effort on all four, like from all four of us. But at this time it was not possible since Magnus Arner, our singer at that time, was living 500 kilometers north from us, so we couldn't meet up every week or so. So what we did was, me and Christian and Jolle was sort of writing musical ideas in the rehearsal room, and we had tons of ideas. I still have tons of tapes of stuff we sort of worked with between the three of us, and then we sent stuff to Magnus. Sometimes we had sort of ideas for melodies, and sometimes we didn't, and just sent him stuff to work on his own part, and he sort of picked whatever this is cool, this is something I like, and this is something I don't like, and some stuff were more or less finished by the three of us, including lyrics. But it was a slow process. So in the end, Magnus came down here, and I think we basically sort of knocked out the album over a long weekend, going through sort of this. We had like I think like 20 ideas or something, and just sort of tried it really quick, and this will work and this will not work, and sort of had sort of a 10-15 songs that we started out recording, and it was nowhere near finished. I remember still writing lyrics when we were in the studio, so it was sort of a different way of working, for sure. And then we started out doing basic tracks here in Oskarshamn, where I live, and doing drums and bass and also the basic guitar. And then we moved up north to Gävle, where Magnus Arnar lives, and did all the vocals. We did some guitar solos as well, and all the overdubs, some keyboard overdubs. We had a church choir on one of the tracks called Storm Before the Calm, which was rather interesting. It's sort of a cool thing to have. Unfortunately, they're a little bit buried in the mix, but it's nonetheless really cool. It was really cool to hear them doing all these stuff that they did on the track. But it was a difficult album, as I said. The writing part was difficult. It took some time to finish the recordings as well, and my main problem with the album, I do like it. I think there's some great tracks on it, but we had some real problems with the mixing the album, and I don't know why. Petter, the guy who recorded it, he's a great engineer, and he would have, I'm pretty sure he would have done a great work mixing it. But we had this idea that we should send the mix to someone else, sort of getting fresh ears and doing something with it. But it ended up being more or less of a nightmare. We were sending it back and forth and not getting something back that we really liked. And in the end, we sort of just, when you work on something back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, by the end you sort of think, well, now this is good enough. You sort of just grow tired of a process. So we ended up with the album. I think we were pleased with it at first, especially concerning how it sounded the first time when we got the first mixes. But listening to it today, I sort of think there's a couple of at least a few songs that should be remixed. I think especially, and I know Christian agrees, the guitar sound could have been a lot better on this one. And it's a shame, as I said, because there's some great tracks. I'm quite fond of, like, Freak Parade is a really cool track, a strong chorus. Death Valley is a cool song that Jolle came in with. I wrote a track called Purgatory Hill that I think, not just because I wrote it, I think it's a rather cool piece. It's something different, and that was sort of the way we sort of approached this album. We wanted to sort of have a little bit of everything that is the Quill. You also have some acoustic numbers. You have the Storm Before the Calm song that's really sort of an epic track, and you have sort of heavy songs as well. And that was sort of the whole idea of the album. And it also was the first one in a long time that came out on vinyl, actually. It was a surprise on our label's part. We did a tour with an Australian band called Mammoth. And at the first show, a box of these arrived, which was a surprise to us, actually. So it was really cool to sort of getting our stuff released on vinyl again. Now it's everyone does it, but in 2013 is sort of the vinyl boom was sort of just starting up again. So it was really nice. So it was released on vinyl 2013, and of course you have this one, the standard CD edition. Nothing special with that one. I also have a promo CD that looks like this. What else is there to say? Well, sort of, yeah, you have a string parts as well. A friend of mine wrote a sort of a really cool string arrangement for Purgatory Hill. Nils Petter Ankerblom, a great sort of arranger here. He's doing a lot of stuff for various musicals, and he's even been on Broadway as well. So he wrote a really cool string arrangement for that track, Purgatory Hill. What else is the title Tiger Blood? I remember we had tons of ideas for titles, but nothing that really sort of, it was called I don't know, we had all these crazy ideas like a Quicksilver conspiracy and stuff, and I don't know, it didn't really mean anything. And I think Tiger Blood came from, I think we had the tiger at first. We had the artwork guy had us sort of send us a couple of different ideas, and we came up with the tiger thing, and then I think the title came after that. And I think it was actually something that Charlie Sheen, when he was on one of his benders, he sort of was using that phrase, tiger blood. He had tiger blood. So I think it came from there, but it started out with this tiger, which our record company hated, and they still do to this day. I don't know what it is about. I think it's really really cool artwork, but for some reason they didn't like it. They sort of didn't think that it represented the album, but I think it's cool, and as you always say, it is what it is, and you just have to live with it. But I can see we have some, I mean, Hooray It's a Death Trip, that's a rather weird cover as well. So, but we like all those crazy Hypnosis covers from the 70s, so I think it is what it is. Yeah, other than that, this was the last album we did with Magnus Arner, and it all ended friendly. Was sort of no hard feelings at all. It was, as I said, it was difficult sort of keeping a band together when you lived so far apart. So it just sort of fizzled out, and we're still great friends to this day. And the two albums he did, Full Circle and Tiger Blood, are sort of both great albums. Which I enjoy both a lot, but they're also different. But I think it's cool to have something. It's another texture, and I like when other bands have a couple of albums with different singers. I think it's, as I said, it brings another texture to the whole sort of scheme of things. So. That's Tiger Blood from 2013. No crazy stories about this one. I don't think Christian flew over any roundabouts recording this one, even though there were a couple of really long drives up to Gävle to sort of finish the album. And we, as I said, we toured a little bit for this one, or a little bit. We did a 2-week European tour with Mammoth and a bunch of festivals as well. So in all, it was a great time. We did some really fun stuff on the back of this album. Well, that's it for now. Next episode, we are going to take a closer look at the sort of comeback album of sort of the four of us that made Silver Haze and Voodoo Caravan, Hooray, It's a Death Trip. We're going to take a closer look at Born from Fire, which will be interesting. It's getting sort of closer and closer to, so you sort of, but it's rather interesting, because I think the closer the albums are, the sort of less I remember about them for whatever reasons. I don't know why. But I'll sort of try to find some interesting stories for Born from Fire as well. But before we end, make sure you follow us on social media. It's TheQuillSweden, and also make sure you come see us on Thursday for the 30th anniversary show. And also we will have the exhibition is finished. We have been working like crazy over this past weekend, and it turned out really nice. So it's opening tomorrow, but we will have sort of an official premiere on Wednesday at 5 o'clock. So if you're anywhere nearby, come say hi to us. We'll all be there. And I'm pretty sure a couple of the old members will show up as well. So come see us, and we'll tell you stories from the road, and stories that we sort of can't tell here. You'll get all truth, as Magnus said yesterday. Well, as I said, make sure you follow us on social media, TheQuillSweden, and also I'll put a Spotify link to the Tiger Blood album, so you can listen to it for yourself if you haven't heard it. I would love to hear what you think about the album. What are your favorite tracks, and what do you think about the album in general? Well, that's it for now. See you all again in a couple of days when we will talk about Born from Fire. Cheers.